fruit, blood on the leaves, and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. Then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here's a fruit for the crows to pluck, a seed for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here's a strange and bitter cry.
All right, Ari, you ready to do this?
I mean, I don't know if you can be ready to do what we're about to do, but I feel like in the current climate, with everything going on, we have a duty to do this, sis. So I would ask you how your week is, but at this point, we don't have the luxury of talking about ourselves, baby.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No.
We don't have the luxury at all.
So, let's just start from the very top. As everybody knows, a week ago, George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
No, baby, he wasn't killed. He was
He was
murdered.
murdered.
Say
He
that.
was murdered.
Don't downplay that. Say that. He was murdered.
And this all occurred when an officer held him down, placing a knee to the back of his neck for nearly 9 minutes as other officers watched. Initially, the preliminary autopsy that was done by the state insinuated that his death was brought on by pre-existing conditions, which we knew that they were going to try. However, that family was smart. They were on it. They got on it quick. They got an independent autopsy done as quick as possible. And that autopsy found that his death was due to asphyxiation, as we all saw and knew. And then the state medical examiner came back with their final conclusion, agreeing with the independent study. And, for the past few days, I would say, 4 or so days, there have been protests that, a lot of them have been peaceful. Some of them have devolved, but listen, I understand. I'm not mad. I understand.
I think at this point, everybody is starting to understand. I will say I'm a little hurt that it took this for a lot of people to realize that the way that we've been moving the past I want to say 10 years It's really longer than that, but the 10 years have been year after year, month after month, another headline. Whether it be a black man, a black child, a black woman, they're dying. And when they're dying, they're not dying because of natural causes. They're not dying because of some freak accident. They're dying because of stops by civilians and by police officers because they decided that they were going to take the law into their hands. It's giving me the real 1950s, 1940s, 1960s. We are in a time where modern day lynchings are the norm. Black people literally this week are sitting in meetings. I don't want to speak for everybody. I want to speak about myself. I literally got off of 2 conference calls this morning. I emailed my boss and I said, look, I need a few hours. With all the stuff that's going on right now, I just need a few hours. I will be back on at this time. He said, no, take a little bit longer. If you need to go until skip the next meeting, skip the next meeting. I couldn't do it today. Couldn't do it yesterday. I put on a face. All weekend I had to be mommy. I didn't want to be mommy because everything outside was like, you should go show up for these riots. We talked about this last episode. We marched before, sis.
Yeah.
We marched side by side. We went from the White House to the Capitol. Only for after an hour that we stood there, what happened, sis? They came outside and told us to turn around.
Yeah.
So when people tell me that I should march, I'm telling you I'm not marching because I literally had, what's his name? Our black senator, bald head John. What's his name? I can't even think of his name right now. He came outside and he said, you know what, guys?
Be peaceful and yeah.
Be peaceful. Disperse. We need to go back to the White House. The White House is where you get it done. You vote on these laws. You're part of the problem. This was before Auntie Maxine was Auntie Maxine. She was just starting to be Auntie Maxine. You're part of the problem. I want to talk to you because you're going to help us. He said, no, turn around. Go back. So
was it Senator Cummings? Do you remember if that's who it was?
Yes, because he was on an episode of Arthur before.
Right. Yes. It was Senator Cummings.
And I was upset with him. That day, I literally left the protest and I said, I can't do this. Because you've been marched beside Martin Luther. You was all in the streets for the civil rights. You did Selma. You did all of that. And you told us to turn around. You told us don't yell at the police. You had police smirking in our faces.
That was the part that I think was the most hurtful, was to see even police officers of color smirking.
She was sitting there like
ready, at the ready.
Like, please jump over this barricade, baby. I'm ready for you. And that's like, girl, you took an oath. We took an oath as people that this was supposed to be over. Juneteenth. That's what we celebrate. This is supposed to be over. This was supposed to be over years ago. And it's not. And then to last Tuesday, see someone get modern day lynched on TV by somebody that took the oath to protect and serve. How? And he didn't get arrested until everybody was outraged? Oh, and then you find out he had 18 disciplinary actions taken against him and never once.
Listen, that whole department, the whole state, that whole state, that police force is just rife with a bunch of disciplinary actions, a bunch of complaints. I mean, they need to start from the ground up. They need to, burn it. No, and do not mistake this for me condoning burning down the precinct. But listen, they needed to start all over again. If any place needed to start all over, they needed to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what upsets me the most is I've watched so many of my non-Black friends say, well, no, Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee, but that's not the right way because he took a knee during the national anthem. Not realizing that he spoke to a veteran before he even did that.
Did it, cleared it.
What was the most respectful way for him to protest and still, honor the flag? And the veteran gave him that feedback, and that's what he did. Everybody was outraged. This man lost his job, can't play in the NFL. They talk about Martin Luther King and peaceful protests and how peaceful he would have been and how disappointed he would be in us. Girl. You violently killed him because he peacefully protested. So I don't
They love MLK.
I don't want to
celebrate his day, but they love him. I don't mean to cut you off. So they won't celebrate him, but they love him.
I don't want to hear about peaceful protesting and why, if you riot or if you burn things or what have you, no one's going to hear you. Y'all weren't listening anyway. You know what you're talking about now? When we were peaceful, nobody cared. Now that people are quote unquote rioting, and I say quote unquote because we don't know, well, some of the photos and videos show clearly who is inciting these riots, and it's not Black and brown people. However, you weren't listening before, and now we're tired. And this has been the perfect storm, right? Because you have COVID, unemployment, people with lack of access to healthcare, people who aren't making an income right now, and they're supposed to survive off of that $1,200 stimulus package or however much you may have received.
God bless Donnie. God bless him.
You have Ahmaud Arbery. You have Breonna Taylor. Back to back to back. On top of a pandemic. Listen, people are home right now. There are a lot of people. They're like, well, where are these people coming from? Why aren't they at work? Why aren't they at work?
COVID outside. Y'all told us to sit at home. We got time now, baby. Before we was busy shucking and jabbing, running our lives. Now we have time. We have time.
The other thing I saw that I think is funny is now all the people who were saying, oh, open everything back up. And they were, supporting the protests, those marches with the weapons to the state capitals and all that. Everybody was supporting that. Now it's everybody go home. Obey the laws.
Right. COVID numbers are going to skyrocket. Oh my God. Girl, you just doing pressure on the state capitol
2-3 weeks ago. And, for a moment I said, oh, well, if we marched armed, what would happen? Because nothing happened to them. But then I said, well, no, a lot of more of the same is what would happen to us. We don't get that luxury. When things happen to us, we get curfews. We get told to go home. We get told we need to be peaceful. Nobody said those things for the people who were out marching with real weapons.
And coughing in people's faces to try to spread it further. Let's be clear. We got to do some unpacking, sis. I hate to. Nothing burns me up more than to have to think about all the things that people in front of us endured, and now we're doing it now. Mm-hmm. Like, I come from a long line of country Blacks, for a lack of a better term, country Blacks. This is my grandmother who was light-skinned, who got to work in the front of the house because she was light enough. They thought she was white. But her kids had to stay in the back room while she worked because nobody could take care of them. Okay. Mm-hmm. You got my mother, whose school was integrated right here in town. And the National Guard had to be called in because y'all ain't want that to happen. We ain't forget. It wasn't that long ago. My mom is what, 50? She in her 50s? It wasn't that long ago, baby. We ain't forget that. You have today all the shit that happens, people getting killed back to back. My daughter has even asked me, little Avery, Avery's smart as shit. So she heard somebody say it before. She said, Ma, did the police kill him? Remember I told y'all that when my cousin died, she said, Ma, did the police kill him? Mm-hmm. Where you get that from? I never once told you that there was a bad cop in this world. Where you get that from?
Right.
But for us, it's become the norm.
I had an incident with my children in the car where it was a traffic incident and a racist man cut me off in traffic and nearly hit me, but was so outraged, he parked his car in front of me and ran back to yell at me and cuss me out. And he, blocked me from driving forward. And I said to him, with the windows up, you realize you are trying to confront a woman and a mother over something that could be easily dismissed. Nobody was harmed. I had every right to be upset. He was in the wrong. And he called me all kinds of names in front of my children. So instead of, getting out or even trying to handle that situation, I picked up the phone to call the police. My son was more afraid of me calling the police than the interaction that I was having with this racist man in the parking lot. And I had no idea, I never talked to him. And those who know me know I'm a military family. I come from a military family. So we don't have those conversations about the military and police officers in front of the children if we are discussing something that we're disgusted with or that could be improved. We don't have those conversations. Well, we didn't have those conversations in front of the children. But in that moment, I realized he had been seeing something, he had been hearing something, and I needed to explain to him what was going on. And, that's when I realized, okay, he is more afraid of what the police officers can do to us than this random civilian in the street. And we're supposed to have confidence that police officers are here to protect and to serve.
I know the other day when George Floyd made headlines, I asked my nephew, he rode with me to the store. He does it all the time, especially with COVID. I don't let the kids get out the car. So we were riding and I'm like, he's like, did you see what happened? I was talking to Granddad about it. I was like, yeah, I seen it. It's like, how'd it make you feel? He's like, I'm just more annoyed than anything. Like, people can hate us because of our colors, not even because we do anything. Mm. Like, what conversation do you have with him? I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like, it's really a shame that somebody would hate you because of your color, because he sees all of our interactions. I mean, my brothers, their girlfriends are white. To us, it's just like, look, you can date them. I tell all the girls that they date, you can date them. I don't care. It's a level of respect. Don't harm them. Don't put them in harm's way, because then you won't get the nice side of me. But other than that, go ahead and date them. It's nothing out of my back. I always ask though. I say, is your family okay with this? Mm-hmm. Always my first question. Is your family going to be okay with this? Because if not, then you need to cut this off right here, because he don't need this. Right. He don't need what comes with it. There was one time he was dating a girl across the mountain. If you know where we're from in Virginia, then you know across the mountain means like Harrisonburg, all that type of area. He literally called us in the middle of the night because her family was like, oh, you can't stay here. You can't stay the night. He drove an hour to come see you. Somebody dropped him off. That was before he was driving. Somebody dropped him off an hour away. Oh, no. It's 1:00 in the morning. He can't stay here. Mm. You're black. Period. They was drinking. I don't know what happened, but now he became the little black boy. He was cool at first. Y'all went to dinner. He paid for y'all dinner. You saw him with your daughter. He was fine. The drinks start flowing. Your true colors come out. It's shit that we deal with every day. Right. So now I'm in this mindset that I want to educate people, but I don't want to give you the answers. I don't want to make any more excuses. I am queen of the code switch. Okay. I've been code switching so long that it's just in my blood, it's in my nature. I blend in well. I always say I'm a chameleon in all environments. I blend in very well. I don't want to blend in this week. I don't want to blend in next week. I don't want to blend in the months to come. I want you to realize that I'm a black woman and I can still be your friend. I can still be your colleague, but the color ain't gonna go away. Right.
And I think I'm tired, and it's interesting because today we had Blackout Tuesday, and the purpose of that was so that we could direct our attention on what's going on. A lot of people, there was some miscommunication.
It was.
And a lot of people thought it meant blackout as in silent, nobody say anything. We're going radio silent. That'll show them. That's not what that was about. What it was about was major corporations, the music industry. I think it started with two women in the music industry. They came up with this idea, and their goal was to black out, selfies and sponsored posts and stuff like that, so that we could focus on what's happening and have those discussions. And, for the people in areas where it's time to vote, talk about how to get you to the polls or whatever it is that you need, like having those important discussions about what's going on. And when I thought about it, I was like, okay, so what can I contribute? Because, I thought about going live. I thought I've actually got a couple of non-Black friends that reached out to me. And in all honesty, I am so exhausted that I don't want to educate. I am so mentally drained with everything that's been going on that even though this is a great opportunity to educate, I felt myself not wanting to have those conversations and answering those why questions, because I keep seeing, well, why are they looting? And what about the, stores? And what about this? And what about that? And I kept explaining over and over in the comments, hey, did you see the pictures? Did you hear the news? They're actually saying on the news that these are people who are not even from these cities. These are people who might even have some association with white power movements or alt-right movements or what have you. And the thug comment that keeps getting thrown around. I'm just tired. I'm tired, and I'm tired of feeling like I have to defend my people in our existence and what the protest is actually about. So all I could do was share. I just shared information. I shared, pages of people who have nothing but energy to explain, and I let it go from there. That's all I had the energy to do. And then I saw also this in the past week, the Air Force admitted that after conducting a study that there is racism that impacts African Americans in the Air Force. And let's just be clear, the Air Force admitted it. That doesn't mean that the Air Force is the only one or that it's more prevalent in the Air Force. Please remember, I've worked for the Joint Staff. I've seen it. So what I will say is it's a big step to be able to say, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not, don't gaslight me and say that, no, it's not there. You're tripping. We've seen it. We just weren't really allowed to say anything about it because then you are labeled as the angry Black person in your workspace. And you don't want that because that impacts your evaluations, your promotions, your assignments. So it was a bit of a relief, but then I'm also in a group that's a military group. And there are a lot of people in the military who have this mindset that, oh, here we go. Black people making it about them. Y'all always have to complain about something. What next? And it hurts. It hurts to see people so dismissive. Even if you don't understand it, even if you don't believe it, just listen. How hard is it to open your ears and just listen? So I saw a lot of that, and I'm, fighting on two fronts, because we see our president talking about, invoking certain actions that will militarize these states in order to, get a handle of the quote unquote chaos. And I understand why people are out there, and I want no parts of that because I don't want to be a part of the problem or a part of what's going to harm more people. But I also, enlisted and swore to do a duty. So there's just so much that goes into what we're all feeling right now on all fronts.
So for the rioting and looting comment, I think you hit it on the head. Like, I don't want to explain that. I don't want to make excuses for it, and I don't want to explain it. I feel like a protest and a riot is something that is going to happen. People are upset. They are angry. They are unheard. People like to quote Martin Luther King. So if you've seen the quote, I'm not going to say it here, but if you've seen the quote, okay, quote him. But the looting is a little much for me. But what I will say is this is how when I saw those statuses, I told one of my good friends, I said, look, for as far back as we can, that American history tells us, we've always been property. Okay. So when you guys get upset when Target's burnt down, when these businesses are burnt down, those are things, those are property that can be replaced. Black people's lives, they're not property. Okay. Mm-hmm. That life cannot be replaced. You can't put an insurance claim out on it and have it come back and get fixed and be a brand new, better version. You can't do that. So if Target's got to lose some sales today, I don't condone it.
Let's be clear. Target and a lot of these businesses took a stand and said, although this sucks, we stand on the side of what's right. We understand what's happening. Listen, they have insurance. I'm not trying to justify, but they're going to be okay. These people that are losing their lives, they're not going to be able, you can't bring that back. You can rebuild a Target. I mean, a lot of the stuff in there is overpriced anyway. The other thing that I really really admired was seeing the global support. I think everybody is tired of America's shit.
Tired, big the fuck tired. Okay, they sick of it. They're sick of it. Wrap it the fuck up, America. You've been doing this shit for too long. Wrap it up. Let's get some new energy in here. Sage the fuck everything out and down. Pray over it, Lord. They sick of it.
Everyone is tuned in to the final season of American Hunger Games.
Please.
And
I'm in District 7.
There were protests in London, Germany, France, Denmark, Italy, Syria, Brazil, Mexico, and Ireland. And, when we look at the news internally, or we look at local news or the US news, we proclaim to be the greatest country ever and that we don't have any issues. Everything's perfect. But if you look at global news and how they report on us, I think that people should do that in general. Whether you believe that America is the greatest country ever with no issues or not, you need to understand how the world views us. And it wasn't until maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I started paying attention to how the world views America that I was like, oof, yikes, we talking about cookouts. We not even invited to the cookout.
They don't want us over there, baby. They do not. But you know what? It's funny. I think it's funny now that every other race gets to see how America is viewed, because this is really how Black people are viewed in other countries. Everybody always likes to say, go back to Africa. Baby, we can't. We can't go over there. We don't know where we're supposed to be going to.
Right.
Where's Granny House? Because we get over there, they're going to be like, y'all Black Americans, y'all not the same. Y'all a little different. We probably can trace it back in the lineage, and you probably from over here, but we don't want none of that smoke. We don't want none of that heat. Come visit and leave. That's how we're treated. So now that other Americans get to see the same treatment, they like, oh, we don't like this. We don't like to feel like we ain't got it right. We don't like to feel like we're not on top. So let's all open a dialogue now and let's get it right.
Yeah. So did you get a chance to see George Floyd's brother? He spoke out recently. And you know how they do when things like this happen, they like to parade out. And, this is not to be insensitive to George Floyd. I think that he should use his platform however he sees fit, especially, during this time. However, I will say the media and whomever like to parade out all these people. They'll find some relative, some distant cousin of MLK. They got Muhammad Ali's children. They just like to parade out all of the Black people who they feel are the voice of our communities.
The overseers.
Killer Mike, who I'm a little disappointed in, but we'll talk about that in a minute. They parade them all out to say, hey, y'all, get back in line. Don't do that. This isn't right. And to an extent, I can understand where they're coming from and trying to keep things peaceful. However, again, like I said initially, if you dig through some of the video footage, you'll find that it's not us who are out here, inciting a lot of this. And I have, an example before the end of the show that I'll give you. But anyhow, he spoke out and pretty much said that the protesting or the violence and the rioting and the looting are not going to bring his brother back. And although I do agree with him, I think the point is it's no longer about his brother. His brother was the straw. His brother might have been the match, but we have been drowning in gasoline for decades now. So, I respect his call for peace and I understand it, but I also understand why that call for peace might fall on deaf ears.
I'm sorry. Y'all gonna feel however y'all feel when I say this, but look, if my sister or my brother had just been lynched on national television for 9 fucking minutes, it would not be nobody in this world that I would tell you, oh, this ain't helping. Anything that you're doing, any energy that you're bringing to this situation for those officers to be arrested, for convictions to be served, I want all of their time. That officer doesn't get to walk another day on this earth without knowing that you harmed my brother. There is no kumbayaing. There is no hugging, none of that. I know God tells us to forgive our neighbor, and to forgive somebody is the most powerful thing that you can do on this earth. I'm not ready to forgive yet. My brother died a week ago. Don't bring no camera in my fucking face. I'm not the voice of the people. I'm not. A lot of people in America, a lot of Black people in America got this overseer mentality. I've said this in the last episode about the Underground Railroad, and I'll say it again. Y'all really out here playing like, oh no, babe, I know it's hard today, but master coming, so get back in the field. I'm gonna get you something later. I know you got a wound. I'm gonna bring you a napkin, but master right here, right now. We got a quota to make. You gotta pick this fucking cotton. That's how y'all look out here every time y'all like, no, be peaceful. Bitch, they not peaceful when they breaking in your house and they killing your girlfriend. They not peaceful then. Shout out to Breonna Taylor's husband for taking a stand, boyfriend for taking a stand and shooting back. They not peaceful then, baby. They not thinking about that. Color is really evident when they're killing you. But now I gotta hug and love my neighbor. I'm sorry. I am working on being more Christ-like, but baby, I'm not that Christ-like. You're not fitting to do that. It's been less than a week and you got a camera in my face. You want to know how I feel? I'm mad as hell. I'm mad that we even got to be here. I'm mad that my brother is now on the hashtag. I want justice and I want it served right the fuck now. The same way that cop thought he was the judge and the jury, baby. I really want to go catch the baddie, but I can't.
And I really think that people should be grateful that as violent as they think we are, all that's happening is protest and some few stores being looted. Because if we were as violent as people think we are, this whole country would be burnt to the ground. Right. And I think, that's the biggest problem with this. I will say, so I know people who attended the protest yesterday and have video footage.
So there's a lot of protests, but you went to the one in DC. All right.
Right. Specifically in DC. And I have video footage of them being peaceful. And it's on the news now, but I'm actually surprised that the news covered it in an unbiased way to where even Fox News had to admit, okay, this was overkill. They were peaceful. They were tear gassed, flash bombed so that they could be pushed back for the president's photo op. Now it's, oh no, the president was going to that church anyway. We were just trying to get them off the street. When that happened, they had a good 45 minutes before curfew. So you're still, out of your lane to do that to them. They had every right to be where they were, peacefully protesting, peacefully demonstrating. And when you look at some of these videos, you see some of the police officers, they look like they're ready, like they're itching, like they want y'all to get out of line just a little bit so that they can have a reason to use excessive force or to be extra aggressive. There's a video going around of a news crew that was resting on stairs, and police officers were coming by and hit one of the cameramen with a baton or no, with his elbow, and then hit someone else with a baton. They weren't even doing anything. So all of this stuff is starting to be televised. I mean, it was already televised, but now it's not just happening to Black people. It's happening to everyone that's out there that's organizing and protesting. And now people are really seeing what we've been saying all these years,
I really don't have no comment on the Trump thing. I just feel like he won't be who he is at the end of the day. And I just hope that everybody is listening and that you register to vote. With COVID, a lot of people don't want to go to the polls, but they are allowing you to vote via absentee ballot. So in Virginia, our next election is June the 23rd. I filled out my form to get a ballot mailed to me today. You have until the 16th to do that. Please go and do that. Like, I urge you, because it's nothing else we can do but vote this man out.
Well, the latest that I heard that I saw on the news right before we started was that there were people in line in DC right now, maybe 30 minutes or so ago, who were still in line to vote. And they were being told to go home, even though they were exempt from curfew. They were being told to go home. So I'm not sure whatever came of that. If anybody's watching who was out there, let us know. And then I want to give a special shout out to Rahul Dubey. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but last night there were protesters, and this is a tactic that is being used that I hope people who plan to protest or continue to protest are aware of, where they will box you in So the police officers had streets blocked off and were moving in, block by block, and they boxed in over 100 and some odd people in this corridor, and they were throwing gas at them, tear gas, rubber bullets, the whole nine. And someone in the community, Rahul Dubey, he took in about 60 protesters and locked them in, or not locked them in, but held them in his home, and just provided them food, took care of them until sunrise, when they were released peacefully. But there was details coming out that the police officers were calling, making fake calls, saying that there was an emergency, that certain people had to leave, trying to throw tear gas into this man's house to get these people to leave, all kinds of tactics to try to arrest these 60 protesters who he housed over the night. So, shout out to him, and, thank him for keeping those protesters safe.
What a time to be alive, baby. What a time to be alive.
Ari, you have any tips for anyone that's going to be out there protesting?
Know why you're there. Have backup chargers so that you can always be located by phone for your family members, because this could go left really quick. I remember like the phone died when we were out there protesting, because I was trying to live, because you always want to capture the footage, but you capturing footage from your cell phone go dead. How can anybody find you, get in touch with you? So just be safe. Try to keep it as peaceful as possible. You see some stuff about to pop off, just try to exit stage left. Don't be a part of the violence, because violence really isn't the answer for this. It's going to take a lot more tactics than being mad as hell and ready to tear some shit up. We really got to be more strategic. We got to be in the voting booth. We got to be head down and just stay focused and really get people out there. So it's cool. You want to go out there. You want to stand. You want to pump your fist. You want to, go tell the cop, this is wrong. Go tell your brothers to do right. You took an oath, blase. Be the good cop. Be the answer. Do whatever you got to do. But I promise you, protesting from your computer works well. Send them letters. Research whoever's in office, get the right people in office, and let's really give them a run for their money this whole election season. Like, we're woke now. You thought we were asleep, but you gave us a lot of time to wake up with COVID. So
exactly, that's all people have time to do now.
We're here now, yeah. Like we can really change some shit. So I just urge people, if you're gonna protest, know what you're protesting for. Go with a buddy. We linked up when we protested. Go with a buddy. Stay charged up. Make sure you have phones. Be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. And if you just see anything pop off, just get out of there. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life. It's not worth your freedom. Because you got to remember, at the end of the day, police already got a job, okay? They're going to be a bad cop if they want to be a bad cop. But at the end of the day, that's their job. You go get arrested and you can't go to work the next day. You could be fired. You go and get arrested and you actually get charged. Your family's without you. Now you missing income. You missing support at home. Now your whole family got to do a scramble to figure out how to support you while you're incarcerated. You got to pay lawyer fees. There's a lot that's going to come with this if you don't do it the right way. So we're urging you to just do it the right way. And sometimes the right way is not to be outside. People going to tell you, why don't you go on the street? The street ain't for everybody.
Everybody has a role to play.
Everybody has a role to play. Everybody.
The only thing I have to add to that is make sure you have your wits about you. Know who is a friend. You don't know who's a friend or a foe at this point, because like I said earlier, there's claiming anarchists and alt-right are infiltrating these peaceful protests. So make sure you have an evacuation plan. Park close enough to get to your car, but far enough not to get stuck. If all else fails, plan to ditch that car and get in an Uber. Watch the police officers. And I only say not in a way to increase tension, but you need to watch what they're doing. As much as you're protesting, you need to be aware of where they are. If they're moving closer, are there a group behind you? You need to be aware of what they're doing so that you can have an exit strategy, so that you're not trapped like the people who were trapped last night. Keep your face covered, even if the protest is peaceful, because you just never know when things will go left. Come together, leave together, and please remember that COVID is still a thing. It's still out there.
Is it?
Yeah, they said there's 19,000 new cases.
Oh, they tested them. Who tested them?
Girl, I don't know.
We won't wait for them numbers because I don't know. Anybody was out there testing them. They was like, "Oh my God, you're protesting! Come over here and get tested right now."
No, that came from Memorial Day. That was from Memorial Day weekend.
Go to hell.
Shout out to Pastor Sean Mason. He said, "We are the most enduring, forgiving people. 401 years of the African American experience, and at no time, even to this day, was there equality and justice."
Pastor be saying so every time, honey. He gonna say so. Let me live stream Pastor this weekend because I got to. Yeah.
And for all of those who were asking, where are the Christians? Where are the churches?
Right there.
Listen, Pastor Mason and Pastor Jay Jones have both spoken up in regards to the protest and what's going on. So if you are not aware, please check them out, Pastor Sean Mason and Pastor Jay Jones.
So sis, how do you feel when people are like, don't record me, jump in if something is popping off with the police? How you feel about that?
It depends. It depends on the situation. It depends on what's going on. That's a tough one because in this most recent situation, people were upset that the person who was recording the video did not jump in. And I was reluctant to be upset about that. And then when I learned that it was a 17-year-old girl,
she should not have jumped in.
Let's make no mistake about it. She is a child. They kept saying young woman. They didn't say her age initially. They just kept saying young woman. So people were like, ooh, that woman should have jumped in and done something. First of all, I'm tired of, people are going to hate me, unpopular opinion. I'm tired of Black women being the martyrs of the movement. I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. We're carrying so much weight all the time. Even if she were 45, she recorded it. We know what happened to him. Had there been no video evidence, it would have just been a bunch of he said, she said. So I understand the sentiment, but when it comes to our children, especially this young lady who recorded it, I'm glad that she didn't jump in. I'm 5'1", 100 and some odd pounds. There were 4 officers. That man looked tall and heavyset. So if they got him down, damn near killing him, what am I going to do? If I don't have a weapon, if I don't have, and again, all that's going to do is have 2 dead people and no video footage. They'll say, oh, that it'll justify them killing the both of us because now there'll be footage of me jumping in to help him and it'll look like it, oh, she attacked a police officer. I don't know what the answer is. I understand why people don't jump in. I used to feel the opposite. I participated in an award show one time, and people were getting thrown off of balconies at this event. And in my mind, I thought, oh my God, why didn't anybody jump in? Now I understand. Now I understand. So
you said a mouthful.
I'm sorry?
I said, you said a mouthful.
Yeah.
We gotta stop for a second. We gotta talk about something. We gotta talk about the role that Black women are playing because I've seen a couple headlines and they said, well, why not the same outrage about Breonna Taylor? So I reposted that today because my thing is a lot of people have been saying, and a lot of Black men, they said, oh, I thought we wasn't shit, Black women. Now y'all outraged. Now y'all posting. Now y'all sharing. You just told your baby father he wasn't shit yesterday. You just told us that we wasn't shit. Blase, blase. I think that sometimes Black men feel like they're not supported by Black women. And we do that to ourselves as a race. We go extra hard in having these expectations for what a Black man should be and who we think a Black man should be. And sometimes when they don't live up to that expectation, we do tear them down. We really have. We've done that sometimes. I tell you ain't shit. You died blase, blase. And then, you have some people who are like, I don't really date Black women because they're crazy and blase. But I promise you that nobody's going to love you the way a Black woman is going to love you.
Listen, we're out here. We've been out here. I can show footage, video. I mean, it goes way, way, way back to way before the civil rights movement, but I'll start at the civil rights movement. We're on the front lines with Black men, period. And so to see some of the conversations about, well, Black women need to do more or what have you, that's no.
What more can we do? That's the question that we want answers to. What do you feel like that we can do for you that we're not doing? Being there is not enough. Marching and protesting is not enough. Raising children, rearing children is not enough. So what would you like us to do? Because when these events come, we do what we think that we should. We go out there and we put ourselves on the line. You see how many Black women stood up and said, look, we demand.
Mm-hmm.
We demand a conviction. We're out here because of this. This is blase. It was a lot of Black women in the front.
And let's be clear, Black Lives Matter was started by Black women and LGBT community, but Black women started it.
Because we're going to front line for you every
time. All of us.
We love you. Black men, you are the most hated, the most feared men on this earth, but we love you. We have a lot of love for you. And you have to know that I don't think there's a Black woman on this planet that would not walk the green earth for a Black man, to see him safe, to see him healthy, to see him prosper. We would do that for you. And I just feel like we don't always get the same energy back, because Breonna Taylor, make no mistake, we haven't forgot about her. We haven't. I think a lot of people are like, so why wasn't it the same outrage for Breonna Taylor the other week, but now and George Floyd gets killed and it's a whole uproar? It's an uproar because we didn't see that. We didn't see the same footage. We didn't see the same video. Now, had I seen somebody kick down a door and fire a shot, I would have been devastated and mortified. And baby, I might have went to go march. But the fact that you watch this video was shared on social media very quickly, and you see for 9 whole minutes, you hear the pleas, you hear the calls. It's nothing else we could have did but get in the streets for George. It was nothing else we could have did. Nothing
and
else.
That's fair. So that is a fair assessment, because that's a thought that I've had. Why haven't people been more vocal about Breonna Taylor and these other women who have lost their lives to police brutality or racist acts of violence? And you're absolutely right. There are not as many that have been recorded and publicized the way the Mike Browns and, Ahmaud Arbery and George,
Gardner, keep going down keep going. But that's how I felt about it. Because I thought about it too. I'm like, dang, y'all ain't get in the streets. Mm-hmm. Y'all ain't burn this bitch down for Ahmaud. Y'all ain't burn this bitch down for Breonna. But they did it for Taylor because we saw that. We heard a grown ass man on the ground with a knee in his neck. Everything about that stop was not correct. When have you ever had to restrain somebody by putting a knee in their neck? Maybe their back, but their neck? You put all your weight on somebody's neck and you ain't think nothing was going to be wrong with that? We saw that. We heard him plead. We heard him cry. If we didn't get up out this house and say, fuck COVID, let's go and clear this bitch up, you gonna go arrest this motherfucker today? If we didn't say that, come on now, sis. We had to go do that. We had to go handle that. And I feel like that's where all Black people are right now. We got to go handle some shit.
I think that now that the lights are on and everybody's aware, I think we can use that to not, and like I said earlier, it's not even just about Floyd anymore. I think now it's about everyone that has lost their lives to police brutality. So I think that we can continue to amplify those, because I don't think anyone's been arrested in the Breonna Taylor case to date.
I know her boyfriend was arrested.
Right.
And that was quickly let go. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go research that. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't think so. I don't think I've seen a conviction or anything for that, or anybody being prosecuted.
So I think we can keep, as long as we have this momentum, we can continue to use this momentum to propel her story as well as Ahmaud Arbery's, because I haven't really seen any updates there either.
Mm-mm.
So
I know people got on TV and they was crying and stuff and say they want a part of it, but you was a part of it. But sis, what's next? Okay. What's next? What do we do? How do we go from here? How do we get people back on track? The looting has to stop. We got to go out. We got to have our voices heard in a more unified way. We got to stop all the craziness. We got to let the curfews and stuff settle, get back up off punishment and shit, because they got us locked down now. And now we got to do the work. But what work has to be done? And furthermore, I want to ask you, what can our allies that are non-Black do? Because that's the questions I keep getting. And baby, I'm tired. You know me, I'm not one for a blueprint. I ain't got it for you. I'm not gonna write it down. But I feel like we owe that to them in the sense that you're asking me now, and I don't want you to just go out there and do it yourself because you've been doing it yourself for so long and it's wrong. So what we doing? What we saying?
You know, honestly, I wish I did have the answers. I don't know. This is the first time that I can honestly say I don't know what's next. The only thing that I think that I can speak to effectively is we need more organization. And I've been saying that since the Black Lives Matter movement, and I'll continue to say it until we get it. We are not organized. People are infiltrating our protests because we're not organized. We aren't properly policing ourselves to make sure things are going according to a plan. We don't even have a plan. Now that we have the world's eyes on us, what do? Now that everybody's looking, now that everybody is paying attention, we don't have a plan. So I think the first thing we need to do is organize somehow. You know, we were able to get together and Blackout Tuesday. You know what I mean? Even if we didn't do it correctly at first, we got it. We got the message out, right?
You gotta send me instructions before we just start doing stuff. I keep sending them late. I done blacked out. Told y'all to stay off of social media. I said no, don't do that. You give me the instructions earlier next time. Who is a part of the communication board?
So clearly we can organize. Clearly we can. We just need to utilize social media and all of the tools of technology to do it in a more effective way. So we need to organize. That's number one. Number two, we need a plan.
We do.
Now what? So we want the other two officers or however many officers that were involved in this case, we want them arrested as well. Okay, great. And convicted. Okay, great. We want the same for Breonna Taylor, and we want Ahmaud Arbery's murderers brought to justice. Okay, great. Then what? Because now we need to talk about policing tactics, over policing of Black communities, unnecessary stops and profiling that have been legalized in New York since Giuliani. Like there's a list of things. So we need to have a summit, write all this stuff down on a whiteboard.
But who I don't want to host the summit. Now look, because Pastor's watching, I'm gonna put out my next thing. I've been reading Pastor. I know a couple verses. Be aware of false prophets, y'all. Okay, everybody, T.I. and all them, they are celebrities, but don't always let them be your voice. Okay, because the way you said you was a little disappointed in Killer, I was a little disappointed in Killer Mike, just a little bit. You had this platform, but he speaks so eloquently, so you gotta love him. He hits a lot of nails on the head, but what he's talking about. I'm duty bound to tell y'all to stop the looting and to go in the house and don't tear our city up. Baby, this ain't your city.
Right.
Atlanta is Black, but it's not your city. Okay. Make no mistake about that. That these cities and these things is getting tore up. Think of Richmond, Virginia right now. Old school, take it back to civil war.
Rebel flags, Confederate flags, like
the capital of the fucking Confederacy. They tearing up them statues finally. They tearing them out.
We told y'all to get rid of them a long time ago.
They want my statues. That's not mine. That's not my city. Because no matter how much love you pour into a city, that city don't always love you back. So who I want a part at the top of the committee that's organized for us is that people that's going to stand up and say, you know what? This don't even feel right. I'm going to tell them to go home tonight. But when we come back tomorrow at 12 p.m., and we sit down for our summit and we get our list of things together, baby, we're going to be ready.
And the other thing that disappointed me with Killer Mike is was it November? He was at the Revolt Summit and he said, burn this to the ground.
They did it. They did what you told them to do. They burnt it down.
All right, y'all. Not like that.
That's not what I meant. Hold up, roll it back.
I so frazzled. He came out there looking like Uncle Ben, girl. He was just
got my house coat on. I wasn't ready.
With that farmer shirt.
He already had his house coat on. They had to go get him. Wasn't ready. Was not ready
at all.
But no, sis, I feel where you feel. I don't have the answers right now. I wish I had them. I keep having these conversations with our non-Black counterparts. I posted a video today that really got some people's feathers going. I pulled on their hearts. I ain't even mean to. I just talk my shit per usual. But people really felt it, and I triggered them, and that's what the fuck I should have did. Because at this point, the only game plan that I really have for people, and that I can say this is, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And however you feel is how you feel, but you got to make a statement right now why it's popular and why it's trendy. And I want you to stand on that. Don't waver from that. So if you really feel like Black Lives Matter, you better tell everybody, you better scream it at the top of your lungs. You don't got to post it on social media. I prefer you not to post it on social media. I would prefer you to go talk to the people in your house. Keep saying the same thing. Go talk. Have those important in-home conversations, whether you do it there. But just make sure that you are always doing the work and you don't let another motherfucker be in your presence. And I know I'm cussing a lot today. Oops, sorry guys. But don't let
I gave y'all that trigger warning. Okay.
But don't let anybody else be in your presence that do not hold the same views as you. It's not cool no more to be like, I like Black people, but with my mama around, I'ma act like they was just my school friends. And we sat in third period together. Nah, the way you telling me that you love me, tell everybody else you love me too.
And it's no longer a difference of opinions because I
oh no, sis froze, guys. It's cool though. She said it's no longer a difference of opinion. So yeah, it's really not. If you can't just say, you know what, I'm gonna agree to disagree. You can't disagree on this topic. You can't. It's no way. It's no way to disagree on this topic. It's you have to realize, sis, you back?
I'm back.
I told him, I said you just went away, but I was saying, yeah, it is no difference of opinions. You have to say, I don't support you. You can't toe the fence with this one.
Well, and so what I was getting at is they say, you know, you're going to delete me. It's just my opinion. It's just no, because at this point, your opinion is dangerous. Your opinion can cost me my life. So no, we cannot be friends, and I will delete you and block you over a difference of opinion because your difference of opinion is a part of my oppression.
Since you said that, all right, sis, look, unpopular opinion. You've been dropping gems all night. You done dropped a couple. You got one for the people tonight?
I do. Give me 1 second so I can pull it up because I'm irritated.
Oh,
and I was going to hold off on this and talk about it throughout the show, but I'm glad that we didn't get to it so I can share this. Do you see this?
Okay, so it says, we are not our ancestors. We will fuck you up. So for the people who don't get to see the live or the video on YouTube, but you listen on the podcast, it says, we are not our ancestors. We will fuck you up. We will do that.
Listen, I don't know what bloodline you're from, whoever's saying that, but my bloodline, we're strong.
Say so.
Our ancestors did a lot that we could never even think to do. Standing in front of a car that you didn't burn up with a sign that's catchy, taking a picture, that's cute. Our ancestors didn't have, cute signs because they were getting hosed and attacked by dogs, and their homes were bombed and their churches were bombed. It wasn't just, some civil unrest here or there. They were living through this for years. When they said boycott, they boycotted for real. It wasn't, oh, well, in a couple more months, we're going to go back shopping at H&M. Do you know how long they decided not to ride that bus? 361 days. And for those who didn't have any other transportation, they were walking to work, however, by any means necessary meant by any means necessary. So don't ever disrespect your ancestors or mine again, talking about what you would fuck up while you stand and taking a picture and not really in any danger.
Oh my gosh, sis, you said that.
And that's my unpopular opinion this week. I just hate seeing that because people get so self-righteous with, our ancestors. Ma'am, the strength of your ancestors is why you are here right now.
Tell them.
If your ancestors were weak, you wouldn't be born. You wouldn't be here.
Tell them, sis. Don't stop. Sis.
All that they had to endure, and you're going to disrespect. And that's why some of y'all are messed up right now. Y'all don't honor your ancestors. So.
Oh, sis, you said a mouthful.
I'm sorry. They pissed me off. They just keep sharing it. Like they said a word. I am not my ancestors. You're right, because you're weak. You're right. You're not your ancestors. You're
Other
weak.
people weak. Okay, look, I don't have an unpopular opinion again this week. I'm gonna give y'all another call of action. I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you again. This week, I challenge you to make sure that you are registered to vote. I challenge you to go sign up to get your absentee ballot. If you haven't done so, some elections coming up this month. Know who you're electing into office. Vote, vote, vote. They said that's how we gonna make some shit pop off. So I want y'all to go do it. My other challenge, and I'm gonna keep saying the same challenge that I said last week. Call people out on their shit, dog. Silence is not allowed. You got a friend who was silent, but that's not your friend. Your people are in distress right now. They calling, they got help signals. We sending smoke bombs. We telling you that we can't endure no more. It's gotten too heavy. We can't carry it no longer. You got to call them out. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's not gonna feel good. You're gonna hurt some people's feelings, but you're gonna know how them people truly feel about you. Call them out. Call them out. If you got a friend that ain't posted shit yet to back you, but that's your people's, and they was in your living room last week, call them the fuck out. I'm urging y'all, because it's not gonna get no better if we keep being silent. It's not. It can't. It can't. Can't. Code switching is done. Do not code switch when it's necessary, but do not code switch to save face no more. We ain't doing it. Nah, y'all love us. Love me hard. Love me when it's visible. Don't love me in my DMs. Stay the fuck out of my DMs. Don't love me in my DMs.
All right, y'all. Listen, we said a lot. I hope that this resonates for some of you. And even if it doesn't, listen again and listen until you feel it in your soul. Share it with a friend. If you love us like we know you do, make sure you're subscribed to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. All of your streaming platforms. We're also on YouTube. So subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at On Muvas Podcast. That's ONMUVAS Podcast, and engage with us there. Ari, where can the people find you, sis?
You can follow me on IG or Twitter. It's ARILAWAN_. That's Ari Lawan _ on everything.
And of course, I'm Chatty Patty DC on all social media. Make sure you're tuning into us and subscribe because we drop each and every Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesdays belong to the mothers. We here now. Oh, and Black Lives Matter. You heard it and you got to feel it and you got to love it. We out.